think he's a snake oil salesman, and I think people will see that. I think one of the things that we've lost, and this, having played people like Atticus Finch, and yes, Jim Comey, he stood for some things. Even McAvoy in Newsroom certainly did. We've lost decency, we've lost civility, we've lost respect for the rule of law. Lost it. We have normalized verbal abuse on the internet. We've normalized bullying, much as the woke generation tried to, change that. It's back. And out the window goes character, integrity. I mean, nobody has great things to say about politicians. They never have. Go back to Mark Twain. But ideally, we're supposed to elect the best of us, not the worst of us. He's everything that's wrong with not just America, but with being a human being.
Famed actor Jeff Daniels tore into Donald Trump and the MAGA mind on Nicolle Wallace's show, Good People.
I just don't get the Christian right. And I've read a lot of people who do, and they explain it a lot better, but it's beyond me. But if Jesus came back, say 4 o'clock this afternoon, and he booked an appearance on your show, what do you think he'd say about how things are going? That's what I want to propose to some of the people who are so, hell-bent on what Trump is and what he represents and how I love the president. I'm going, have you seen the litany of stuff that he's done to people? I just think we're better than that, and I wish the Republican Party could get back to being better than they are now. I don't know.
I suppose the question for Daniels is this. Are we better than this? Like, truly, are we better than this?
Gorbachev, once Reagan and Gorbachev had a deal and the Berlin Wall came down, which was an added bonus to what he was over there to do, Gorbachev, I think, told him, you don't have an enemy in me anymore. Your enemy now is going to be within. We can learn from our past that history does repeat itself if we're not careful. And I think in regards to Reagan, there was a way that we dealt with a country, certainly a leader of a country, who was hell-bent on being at least our opponent and maybe eliminating us. In today's world, it just feels like Putin wants to infiltrate the United States and that Trump is, like his puppet or something. And it just, that's not what Reagan was with Gorbachev.
He was strong.
He was strong, and he was, in his way, patriotic. Mm-hmm. In a way that word just gets thrown around, and it's taken on a political connotation. It was patriotic if you agree with what we're doing on the right.
Right.
And there was more of a universal thing. That's the thing that Reagan had, that Atticus Finch had. They had respect for things that were bigger than them. They respected the rule of law.
Daniels is right that Trump simply does not. He also did not hold back on Trump voters, telling Wallace, I hope you're losing tons of money. Those of you who thought this would be okay. My question is, what are you guys going to do about it? When Wallace said the tariffs are going to affect MAGA, Daniels would reply, I think at the end of the day, that's what's going to do it. Wait a minute, the grocery bill is what? $180 more? I can't get that car that we have to have unless I pay another $8,000. What? Who do I blame for that? Who do I see about that? One person. He also went through a certain senator from Kentucky and how they played the long game. When Mitch McConnell started stacking the courts 25 years ago, I said it on your show once, they can see it coming, and Mitch and company could see it coming. They were going to be the minority. So they just started, and then here we are. And now you got it. White House spokesman Kush Desai would reply as follows to this sentiment. Wow, another washed up, out of touch, left-wing Hollywood clown is wishing harm on everyday Americans because they disagree with his opinions. Unfortunately for Jeff, and fortunately for the American people, under President Trump, bond and stock markets are rallying. Joe Biden's inflation crisis is over and real wages are rising. So par for the course, going with the old washed up actor sort of thing is not relevant in the slightest. Everyone knows who this man is, and on top of that, his career has been budding. So it is not true. But one thing that I want to go back to is when he did say, we've lost civility, we've lost respect for the rule of law. Fascists have lost respect for the rule of law. Rather, they've never had respect for it. That is what this regime is. It is authoritarian to a T. They don't respect the rule of law by showing time and time again that they want to undermine judges. They're almost, well, he has, Donald Trump, threatened judges in the past because they have gone against him in their rulings, deeming something, for example, unconstitutional or an overreach of the federal government and the Trump administration. So the judges are that key moment, those key players of blocking what the regime wants to do, even though they've shown that they have a great disdain for those who do. Even Trump appointed judges and Reagan appointed judges and Bush appointed judges. Do you know how far right you have to go for those three presidents to appoint a judge, and for that said judge to say, yeah, you're going too far? You have to be doing something incredibly effed up, but that is what they're doing. And on another point, when Daniel says that he just doesn't understand the Christian right, a great interview that everyone should go take a look at as it pertains to the Christian right is an interview I did on my independent show, The Rick Strom Show, with Kristen Kobes-Dumais, who is an author and a professor who discusses the extreme right and this intersection of politics and religion, specifically amongst the evangelical base. It was an eye-opening interview. So after reading her book, Jesus and John Wayne, which everyone should go get, and conducting that interview, I'm not surprised at all. I actually think that it fits. It's the last puzzle piece to what they believe is going to eventually be the rapture, and so as I'm listening to this, I also don't think that it's just going to be them paying more, because they are so far down the MAGA pipeline and the MAGA rabbit hole that it will be blamed on anybody else than Donald Trump. And his audience will continue to eat it up. The only thing, and why all Dems and anyone who opposes Trumpism should cling to, is Epstein. He's running scared. They're about to have a recess for 6 weeks. Speaker Mike Johnson is about to do it because they don't want to release the files. They're attempting to buy time. I don't think it's people paying more at the pump. Because they've already been sold, well, in order for us to be better, we have to struggle a little bit. I've seen those interviews. I don't think that's it. I don't think it's what you pay at the grocery store. I think it's Epstein. And that's why no one should shut up about it. Not just because probably Trump is in it, according to this Wall Street Journal piece that came out today, which, by the way, owned by Rupert Murdoch, but also because I would like to know if we have peds in our Congress or anyone who was in our Congress, because they should be nowhere near it. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYT Sports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.